You are watching Points of Interest.
Happy Friday, guys, and welcome to the final episode of Points of Interest. Oh, why is it final? Okay, so we're not abandoning you. Don't worry. It is the final episode of POI because we are going to be live at TwitchCon next week with a few surprises for you. And no, I'm not going to tell you everything. I'm not going to give it all away. But I will tell you that we are going to have the Druid. We're going to show all of that off at TwitchCon next week. So don't worry, we've got you covered. For now, though, we are all about the Scrapper. We've been focusing on the Engineer's Elite spec this week, so why don't we talk about that? Irenio is with us.
Hi.
And you led the work on the Druid Elite spec. And I know you think I'm giving you too much credit, but you've been doing a lot of work.
Yeah, well,
So.
the Engineer is one of the two classes. Ranger is the other one that I primarily play. So those are kind of the ones I really enjoy, and yes, you will. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about the Scrapper first. Can we talk about, let's start with the name, mostly in relation to one of our playable races. Scrapper was historically a negative term in Char society, like the low-class warbands, the outcasts, the misfits, and it's an insult. And they were like thrown over to junkyard work and all of that. So what's up with that?
So the word with that is basically they got kind of... They were downtrodden, as you said, and they took their punishment and basically made it into a badge of honor, essentially. And in the process, continued to do their work, but took great pride in it. And doing so inspired the other downtrodden races to do similarly. And really, when you're working with a bunch of junk, you can make some pretty cool stuff. So the Scrapper is actually a master of improvisation, and this is not just mechanical, but also on the battlefield.
Nice. I love it. All right, so on the battlefield, can we get a quick overview before we jump in of what the Scrapper's role is?
So the Scrapper is going to be kind of a melee bruiser. He's also got a lot of good lockdown ability, and in doing so, in preparations for raids, he's also pretty capable of breaking break bars with, maybe a little bit of assistance from others, but he does a lot of taking it to them.
Awesome. All right, well, why don't we get started and take a look? Let's start with the weapon skills.
Okay.
What do we got?
So, since you guys saw some of the weapon skills already through earlier reveals this week, the one weapon skill is it's a 3-piece combo, and this the first hit is a positive charge, and it gives you might on hit, and it can strike up to 3 targets. Each of the sections of the combo can. And for each target that you strike, you get a stack of might. The second hit is vulnerability application per strike. And the third hit actually does both. So you're potentially able to stack up a kind of hefty amount of might if you're just auto-attacking, as well as applying a fair amount of vulnerability. So as you keep striking something, the damage is just going to keep ramping up.
All right, so you've got might on you, vulnerability on the bad guys.
That's right.
And then both?
Yep.
So it just keeps on building. That's kind of awesome, and I feel like the enemies aren't going to feel as happy about it. All right.
Their feelings don't matter. Unless they're apparently potentially moose.
Moose Force 2 still in effect. All right, so the 2 skill. What's this one called?
Okay, so this one is the Elektra World. What this one does is this one creates a multiple whirl finisher at your location. When you first start it and whirl, there's a whirl finisher, and the second you finish with that whirl, there's kind of this going momentum that finishes again. It's also a reflection, so any projectiles that are coming at you, right back at them. Kind of, again, playing up that theme of improvisation and being able to react to what your opponents are doing.
Nice. All right. I just keep looking at it, popping those back over there, and it's okay. So I already confessed this to Irenio. I don't main an engineer. I'm sorry. I really, really love my Daredevil. I'm sorry, but this is making me like the engineer more.
As it should.
Just because it looks like it can take all of this. It's exactly what the Scrapper should be.
Yeah.
All right. How about
Glad
3?
you're enjoying. Tempt you over to the dark side.
I am. No, stop. Look, there's another skill.
Oh, you do know how to distract me. All right. So this is the rocket charge. So it plays out such that you do multiple leap attacks towards your target. And if you don't have anyone targeted, you continually leap forward for the full distance. potentially giving you a good means of escape, but also for closing into them. Each time you stop and swing, you're performing a leap finisher, so you can kind of load up on multiple things that leap finishers do, from daze strikes in lightning fields to fire auras or ice auras or things like that.
I will say I felt like this one took a little bit of getting used to.
Yeah.
I was really not good. I mean, I was hopping around and missing stuff, and he just like sat there giggling at me, which, thanks to that man.
Hey, anytime. I figure
So-
it'll inspire you to continue playing the engineer to get
It will make
better.
me want to get better. Stop laughing at me. I'm sorry I jumped into a wall.
Or over a cliff, yes.
It was that one time was it.
Hey, I'm not judging. There was one more thing I wanted to mention on the rocket charge, which is that it's actually also an evasion. So using it at the right time, yeah, you can both evade some damage that's incoming and, take it to your foes.
All right. Oh, good. More
So-
fire.
Yes. So the fourth ability on the skill is the Shock Shield. And this one is a full-on block for its duration, 2 seconds. And it's a heavy vulnerability application to your foes while you're blocking. So this is both offense and defense at the same time. It's also kind of a, hey, look, you're trying to hurt me. I'm just setting you up to take the pain as soon as I'm done with this.
I'm super distracted by I'm counting the foes, going, yep, that is a lot of dudes on fire right there. So I like the combination on these of the offense and defense wrapped into a single skill.
Yeah, that's kind of the scrapper. And
All right, bring down the lightning.
And you're now seeing Thunderclap, the 5 skill for the hammer, which creates a pulsing AoE lightning field, which on the initial strike is a straight up stun. So that stun kind of gives you the opportunity to then load up on something else. As people have been speculating, performing the AoE stun and lightning field lets you then jump in, as you can see being done, and then following it up with multiple dazes just to kind of keep people locked out for a few seconds when you're getting into the brawl.
Can we take a moment to admire that hammer?
Oh.
That is amazing. If you haven't already noticed, check out that gigantic wrench hammer.
Yes, this will be potentially available to those of you who want to go all the way down the line with the scrapper, unlocking it after you've unlocked everything else from the specialization.
Tempt me with cool weapons. It's not okay.
It's totally okay. It's all part of my plan.
Fine. All right. What if I distract you with some utility skills and ask you to tell me about them?
You probably could succeed.
Look,
All right.
utility skills.
All right. Well then.
We're such dorks.
So with the gyros, that is the new specializations class of utilities. What you're seeing right now is the medic gyro. It's a small gyro. For the record, all the gyros have pretty decent amounts of health. They can be targeted, they can be attacked, they can be CC'd, but at the same time, you can also apply boons, buffs to them in order to, counterplay some of that. The medic gyro applies a bunch of healing in an AoE on you and other allies after it's out. And it does so at a pretty decent clip, I think every 2-3 seconds. So you can get a decent number of heals. This one lasts 15 seconds. That is what the fuel remaining actually represents. It's how long that can stay in the world. If someone wants to focus on it, they might be able to take them down. They're pretty hefty. They're going to have to ignore you, and you might make that difficult on them.
All right, next one. I love the little gyros. They are absolutely the cutest.
Well, so
Sorry, they're not supposed to be cute.
I'm glad you're enjoying them. They're kind of cute, but
They're badass.
They're
and scary.
little, yeah, that's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
that's what it is.
So what you're seeing now is the Bulwark gyro, who essentially applies a large AoE damage reduction to you and takes that damage upon themselves, as well as from allies. And in addition to that, his health pool is pretty large, so you can use him both for simply interrupting. So from this demo that you're seeing, you could spot that the engineer actually steps behind the Bulwark gyro in order to basically take no damage instead of even taking half. And you can do that with other gyros, but this way, with the Bulwark gyro, you can play that component of it up.
So very great. I could just sit here and watch these. They're so fun.
All right, now you're seeing the Blast Gyro. This one is a knockback upon delivery. You launch a small homing device onto your target, and that's just a straight projectile that could be, potentially intercepted by another target. But whoever you tag with it, the Blast Gyro is going to just go charging at them. This is one that I made slight reference to in an earlier interview, where you can apply a bunch of boons to it, so that, yeah, you could potentially, if you're the target of the Blast Gyro, try to lock it down, immobilize it, keep it from reaching you before its fuel runs out. But as the engineer, you could do things like apply stability, apply super speed, or other boons in order to make sure that it gets to its destination. And, yeah, delivers both a knockback and a pretty hefty amount of damage.
So you can lock those down if you're coming up against them?
Yeah, you can, but, well, it might be difficult.
You can try.
It might be difficult with a scrapper in your face.
You can try to lock it down.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Oh, so many moves. All right, how about this one?
Okay. So this is the Shredder Gyro. This is just a straight placement gyro. You target it on the ground, and it continually performs whirl finishers as well as applying damage in the area around it. So you can see it's whirling and just doing straight damage. You throw it on a whirl field or a combo field, and it's going to continuously whirl in it for its 12-second duration. This is a lot of projectiles that it will spin off. So throw this down, say, in a raid. If it survives almost any amount of time, it's going to do a pretty wrecking amount of damage.
Nice.
And, yeah, it will survive for a decent while. You can do things like, one of the combos that I enjoy pulling off is having the Bulwark Gyro up and having it basically shield the other gyros, taking damage for them that they would otherwise take, so they get to do more of their stuff.
Awesome. I want to play with these. All right. So, this little guy?
The Purge Arrow. So this one was talked about early. So what this guy does is every 3 seconds, he removes 2 conditions from you or a target ally that's nearby. And he's consistently checking, oh, hey, who's got conditions nearby? And if it happens to be you and an ally also has them, he's going to target you because, that's kind of what you set him up to do.
Because you're his favorite.
Yeah, exactly. You're the master.
Yeah. Well, they know where their bread is buttered.
Indeed they do. Or, yeah, where they're filled up.
However that works.
Yeah.
I don't know that they really eat.
No.
Right, and he exploded.
They chug fuel all the time. It's delicious.
Tasty, tasty gasoline.
Yeah. So, that, I think, is the last of the utility gyros. So lastly, we have the Elite, the Sneak Gyro. So what this guy pulls off is he applies an AoE stealth to you and allies nearby. And it's a decent amount of stealth. So yes, you can stick in it, charge up a bunch of stealth, and go off and do a thing. The gyros also, when they detonate, when they explode, when their fuel runs out, when someone kills them, they cause an AoE daze. And you can trait that for other fun things. One concern that I saw in reading our forums and Reddit was that why would you have it so that the Sneak Gyro remains revealed while you and your allies are just getting stealth? Everyone's just going to look at it and say, oh, they're all right there.
This is exactly what I asked you.
Yep.
So, yeah.
So, yes, they are hiding there. How many there are, you don't know. One of the traits, I'm going to spoil it, is, yeah, I know, is when a gyro dies, it throws down a lightning field that also applies constant super speed. So you can do things like charge up your swiftness, your super speed. I am totally botching it. You charge up your stealth, and then you detonate your gyro, and you can all split off while under the effects of super speed to get where you need to go.
Nice. And again, how many are in there? Yeah, there's a stealth gyro, but...
Oh, yeah.
It's like those stinking mesmer portals. How many are going to come pouring out of there?
Indeed.
Yeah. All right, and you're doing fine.
Oh, really?
Yes, really.
I'm glad to hear that.
All right. What about the tool belt?
So each of the gyros gets a tool belt skill. As you saw, each of the gyros has, once it's summoned, a detonate skill, but on their tool belts, these all apply around you. and a lot of them are field-based, so that you can kind of combo in if you're, say, using a hammer off of each of those tool belt skills. So, here you're seeing the Medic Gyro tool belt skill, which creates a water field around you and applies some protection. So, that's the possibility for healing as well as, incoming damage reduction. Very protective, very defensive, but also recovery time.
Again, you're hitting both sides of that on those skills. You're getting
exactly.
Offense and defense.
Yep. Or at least sustain and defense, so that you can... Sustain is basically more damage. You stay in there longer, you just get to beat more face.
The versatility is what's tempting to me. That and the gyros.
I'm glad you're enjoying.
I really, really am, and I like when a class, especially in Elite Spec, can make me take a second look at something.
Well, we're trying to push that a bit with the Scrapper.
Mostly I just run around PV and toss grenades, which I still love.
No, grenades are still fun. Grenades will have their uses. And one of the things about the Scrapper is, you can, just because you pick a Scrapper doesn't mean you have to run a hammer and all the gyros and all the traits in a particular way. There's a lot of class synergy with each of the other specializations that you have on the Engineer. So you could pick Scrapper and, run, say, Flamethrower, as well as a few gyros and some traits.
You have a little bit of choice.
Yeah, you have options.
All right, let's keep going, because I'm kind of loving seeing these in another round.
Okay, so the next tool belt skill is for the Purge Arrow. And, purging, it's cleansing, but can be kind of toxic at times. So this one drops a AoE poison field around you, poisoning enemies, as well as, it's a poison field. You can lay down various combo fields, the Whirl Finisher, fire off a bunch of poison projectiles, or Leap Finisher in it to weaken your enemies, make sure that you can just stay in there, not take as much damage as you would otherwise.
Just a poison field.
Just a poison field,
You get to do more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of it's in how you interact with other things that you're doing.
All right, so now, is that me?
Oh, that might be you, yes.
Yeah. All right, so you're running around. Oh, yeah, I remember this. Okay,
Yes.
Go ahead.
So this
I was
next
kind of
one
grossed out by this.
Yeah, well, this is a super stealth application to you and allies beside you. So this one kind of gives you a fair amount of mobility, as well as initiation opportunity. And this plays on the Blast Gyro. So you can pop the Blast Gyro and then immediately pop the tool belt skill for the Blast Gyro to give it super speed to, get where it's going like that, and deliver its payload.
Nice.
So, and I also enjoy doing that. It gets there a little faster, and you just rocket charge, so you're hitting them at the same time that the gyro's hitting them.
Yep.
So,
2 for 1.
Double the pain.
I like it. All right. Oh.
Okay. The Bulwark Gyro. So this is a straight-up reflection shield that, yes.
I'm sorry, it looks like Epcot.
Happens,
It's okay. I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
We're very mechanic here.
Okay, so you work with what you have.
Yeah.
All right.
We improvise. So this is just a straight-up field. You could use this. Other people can see it really easily. They're taking damage. They can jump behind it and take advantage of that reflection. Or, you can move too and, make sure that you're providing additional support to your allies as well as yourself. Because it's all about what you're going to pull off.
I really love the reflection.
Yeah.
This one, I know when we were working through it, this is another one that takes some getting used to as far as timing goes.
Yes.
Because we were trying it out, and it took me, you're used to it. I mean, you helped make this thing. It took me a number of times to get the timing right, so
Yeah.
I'm playing through it for a while. You'll get used to it.
Yeah, skillful application of a lot of these skills, like using it at the right time is going to be key to playing a Scrapper really well. These are not skills that you can just fire at any time and get maximum effect. A lot of them are combos, a lot of them are, hey, look, what's the situation I'm in? Oh, this is when I want to use this particular skill. And you have, just like playing up the Engineer more, you have a lot of versatility. Yeah, I know.
Thanks,
it's a sales pitch word.
You're doing this on purpose. I am so strapped for time. And now I want to spend my time on this.
Good.
All right.
Good.
Let me distract you with more gameplay.
All right. So, on the next one. So this is yet another lightning field that the Scrapper gains on the, this is the Shredder Bot's tool belt skill. So it places a lightning field that's also straight detonations. So it's doing both damage and granting you the ability to lock people down a little bit more through combo finishers. Yeah.
They just really do a lot of stuff.
I like that most of them, we've kept it pretty simple, but because of the way that there's interplay with a lot of your weapon skills and the engineer class in general, you can use them for a bunch of different things.
I forgot about this.
Oh, yes. Yeah, so this is the
I forgot we
elite.
did this.
The elite Snoop Gyro gets the tool belt skill for that one is an AoE reveal, and it's a pretty large range, and it affects up to 5 targets. So as you can see here, yeah, there are a bunch of guys stealthed around, and oh, boom, there they all are. It's instant, really quick. You get that sense something's going on. Well, now you know what's up.
Perhaps if you see a sneak gyro.
Yeah, if you happen to spot a sneak gyro, you can try and run over there and pop that, and oh, you know what's going on suddenly.
I'm just
Or
picturing,
they might have run away.
Yeah, I'm picturing running through the field after the sneak gyro. Come back, let me count you. I had forgotten about this one, to be very, very honest, and this was one that I loved.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, we're creating a bit more counterplay there. Stealth has kind of been something that you haven't been able to really counter. It's just been a one-sided opportunity for whoever's in stealth. The engineer is getting some of that. Expect in the future other professions may get an option, but yeah, engineers get it first.
I don't want stealth to be countered.
Yeah, people who have stealth always say that.
That would be me saying that. All right, so we have some options with all of these.
We do.
As far as putting in the traits. So let's take a look at those next.
Let's pop over to the traits then. So
I feel like I'm just sitting here like, show me more stuff.
Well, hey, that's what I'm here to do. I want to show you and everyone else a bunch of the Scrapper stuff. It's the reveal for a reason.
All right, let's do it.
So here we have the first miner for the Scrapper. This is the function gyro. This is what gives you access to a remote ability to stomp or revive a target. This is something that people have been speculating on a fair bit, and this is whoever you have targeted. So it's not just, oh, I step into range. It just becomes this random pop-up of an F interact. You actually have to target them, and then you hit your F. The gyro appears at their location and starts to do its job.
What?
So it's really quick, really dangerous. People have been theory crafting on the use of the function gyro, and I've been seeing a lot of smiling faces there. They're kind of spot on that, yes, toss it out there, lock down your enemy, it does the job finishing, some other guy, and then you've kind of taken care of your business.
Important question. Does it get a finisher?
We currently, oh gosh, how much can I say? So
that's a question I would ask you. So.
Fair enough. So right now, it doesn't have its own custom finisher, but it will use what finisher you have equipped.
That's what I wanted to know. Awesome.
So, yeah.
But now you have put the idea of a custom finisher for the bot in my head. Thanks.
You started it. Good job.
I did. I'm kind of pleased with myself because I'm going to nag you about this.
I would love to see that. A couple people speculated, oh yeah, wouldn't it be cool if when the gyro stomped, it spoke out like one of the Gather-trons and was like, ha ha ha.
Did we get that recorded? We recorded that.
Uh-oh.
There it is.
Yeah, wow.
Thanks, man.
Never coming
You are
on here
never
again.
going to come on this show with me again.
All right.
All right.
So that is the function gyro. You can use one every 30 seconds, and it lasts for 15 seconds. So if someone happens to, stop it from doing its job, it's going to try and go right back to it.
Nice.
So, yep.
All right. That's your first miner.
And miner 1 is shocking speed. This is when you leap or blast finish in a lightning field. In addition to the effect that you normally get from that, you also apply super speed to allies nearby. So this is something that the Scrapper can bring to raids, as well as in general supporting other allies, creating a little bit more gameplay closing things off, because mobility kind of matters in situations like PvP and raids.
A lot of situations.
Oh yeah. The stabilization core. So this miner grants stability to your function gyro and to yourself when you pop it out. So, wow, pop it out. So when you summon the function gyro to go and stomp someone or revive an ally, there's the potential for it getting interrupted, and that is kind of one of the large components of counterplay. This makes it very hard to do so. This also makes it so that it's kind of hard to stop you from doing so. So if you happen to say there's some poor schmuck that you've just completely wrecked, getting stomped by your function bot, and they've got a buddy coming, this will make it that much more difficult, and you can also start to stomp them as well. So you can have that, both you and your function gyro are working to take that guy out. Yeah, well, never said being a scrapper was nice.
Well, all right, that's fair. You do what you got to do.
Yeah, and we will. Next miner is the recovery matrix. Pretty simple. Use a heal skill for a little while after that, in particular with things like the medic gyro. It heals you for a bit when it comes out, but it works itself over to keep healing you. This gives you that opportunity to really soak more of it while people are trying to pour on spike.
Awesome.
The second miner is Decisive Renown. People have been wondering, what are the boons? Because they saw the description, but not anything else. So Decisive Renown is 5 stacks of might and super speed to you and allies when you finish off an enemy or revive an ally. And this happens around you, whether it's your bot doing it at a distance or whether you're the one who just pulled it off.
Oh, wow. Just finish the guy. Everybody's got might and speed.
Yep,
and we're coming for the next one.
Exactly. Yep. Just chain it all together.
Love it.
Rapid regeneration is one that people have been speculating on some more. This is while you have either swiftness or super speed, or both. If you happen to have both, you're getting all the effects every second of swiftness. Well, the swiftness heal of 100 base and about 500 for super speed per second. So you get a few seconds of super speed. That's like 1,500 healing or so. Have swiftness as well. You're getting 600 per second. And that scales with your healing power at a pretty decent rate. So, yeah, if you want to go really sustain tanky, you can with this trait and, finding multiple ways to gain super speed.
Nice.
The next major is, the next master tier trait is Expert Examination. Since we're dishing out a bunch of days and we have the ability to stun, this kind of keeps us in the field and helps us further lock down our opponents, weakening them as well as making them more vulnerable, letting us dish out a little bit more damage. And there's no ICD on it, so everyone you stun, yeah, they're all weakened, all made vulnerable, yeah, opportunities. Gosh. The next Master Tier one is Mass Momentum. There's been a lot of hype about this, in particular in regards to Flamethrower. So Mass Momentum gives you, in addition to converting what toughness you have into power for a little more impact, a stack of might that lasts 5 seconds every second that you have stability. So this means, yeah, if you say are popping a stabilization core function gyro, that's 8 seconds you're going to have stability potentially, and during that time you're gaining might. So this can get up to 5 stacks base. If you have boon duration, it's going to go even higher.
Yeah, more and more.
People have been looking at this and thinking, oh, yeah, Flamethrower, that gives me, with Juggernaut, constant stability. And yes, it does, and that works perfectly in with this. So you're going to have both Pulsing Might from Juggernaut and Pulsing Might from Mass Momentum. You could stack it pretty high if you have a little bit of boon duration in there as well.
Awesome.
The final miner is the Impact Savant. This is your outgoing stuns have their durations increased, and your incoming stuns have their durations decreased. So it keeps you from getting locked down and you're going to lock people down that much better.
Here, have some of my stun. No, really, I insist.
So, yep.
Pretty straightforward.
Very straightforward,
But it
plays
nice.
very well into things.
Love it.
All right, on to the Grandmasters. Whoa, if I can keep my mouse there. So the first of them is adaptive armor. You gain stacking toughness every time you're hit, and you reduce incoming condition damage. This is something we haven't really done before, where any conditions that are on you, ticking, a long-standing weakness of the engineer has been conditions, because we don't have very much condition clearing. This makes it so that condition clearing is less necessary. You just take less damage from them.
Awesome.
And, yeah, you're even tougher for the physical damage stuff that you take, because you can just keep piling on additional toughness from the adapted armor.
It's nice that you guys got to address some of that.
Yeah. Oh, and for the record, the 1 second ICD does not apply to the condition damage reduce. That's just on all the time.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's just for gaining stacks of adapted armor.
Awesome. All right.
And this was the trait that I jumped forward to, Final Salvo,
Yes.
which all gyros, including your function gyro, when they finish their jobs, when they get destroyed, they create a pulsing field of super speed that's also a lightning field. So you could see where this might come into play. Things like the shredder gyro, it's done its damage, it's done its bit, people have taken it out, and suddenly there's now this lightning field sitting right there, and you can just jump into that, daze those guys who just may have taken out your gyro, and yeah.
That one's
Lock
super
things
handy.
down a little, yeah. And it lasts for 3 pulses. Each pulse is going to apply super speed.
Ooh.
So, yeah.
All right.
So
you're
people
gonna
can see
look for
this
that on
and
the
kind
battlefield.
of run into it,
Yeah.
get where they need to go.
Hurry, hurry.
And lastly, we have Perfectly Weighted. This is your hammer trait. Hammer skills just deal more damage, as well as 5 second ICD. You gain 2 stacks of stability for 3 seconds anytime you evade an attack. So this also plays in with the rocket charge, because that is an evade. So someone happens to try to attack you while you're bouncing around in your rocket charge. When you're done, you're going to have some stability on you. Happen to have mass momentum, you're going to hit them that much harder, because you've now got that extra might going in there. So, yeah,
Love it.
that's
So
what we've got for traits.
Putting some of those together seems to work pretty well and make some fun things.
Yeah, there's a couple things here that kind of link together.
Just
Not
a
going to
few.
say anything, but
Well,
yeah,
Why don't we see a few of them? Because I made you record some fights for us and put all
All
the.
right.
Boy, your char is she's just dancing away. She's
you
having
know.
a good old time. All right.
Happy
Well, why don't
enough.
we take a look at some of the fights and see what they all look like together?
Yeah, so as you can see, you're going to want to try and keep lightning fields up if you're going to really lock down an opponent. This
Geez,
lets
that was
you,
quick.
yeah, this lets you mitigate a lot of the damage that you're taking, and really give you opportunities to deliver the pain. The hammer gives you a lot of ways to mitigate incoming damage between its reflection, its evasion, and its blocking on the 2, 3, and 4 skills, as well as the initial stun on the 5 skill. So these are all kind of playing into each other, and using them at the right times is going to be a large component of skill for the scrapper.
And that was something that we talked about a little earlier in the show. It is a lot about timing and getting that timing down. So getting a little better with practice.
Pretty much.
And there's another cast off.
Yes. That one was a little closer than I wanted, but worked out.
That's all right.
Okay.
I saw you hanging in there earlier with 1 health. Wasn't it all cheaty?
No, I never cheat. But yes, cheating, that's just what, losers call winners.
You are the worst. Look, there's another fight. And I think you're
Ow.
trash talking. I can't really read it, but.
Oh. Yeah.
So you bypassed you and went straight for the gyro.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you were stealthed on that in entry, so you know,
Right.
yeah. People suspect that have suspected that the Snoop Gyros are not going to see any play in open world or in dungeons in particular, but I see that actually being the reverse. What I described a little earlier in the show was, you can potentially sit there, charge up a little bit of stealth, and then, actually choose to detonate the sneak gyro, get all that super speed, and then just run charging forward while you're still stealth through a bunch of stuff. Yes.
All right.
And
So
Scrapper is pretty bloody potent. Able to, kind of solo PvP bosses.
no big deal.
Bosses.
Whatever. Yeah, you're kind of
Either way.
throwing them around.
Look, it's a bear. It wants to be thrown almost as much as a moose.
I don't think that's how bears work.
No?
I don't know.
No one told me. I've been tossing bears. Yeah. Wow.
All right. So that is the Scrapper.
That is the Scrapper. So,
And go
yeah,
ahead.
we hope you enjoyed this.
Yeah.
But I'll let you as host
No, forget it. Now I'm mad.
do this.
All right. So you're still doing some fine tuning.
Yeah.
Correct?
None of this is
Yeah.
final.
I'm gonna throw it down, walk away.
Yeah. No, nowhere near. There's still improvements that can be made, as always, to a lot of things we do. And I'll be listening for a bunch of feedback, especially with the upcoming beta weekend, where you guys all get to check this out and play it for yourselves. I'll be watching, want to see your reactions, want to see what you have to say, and we'll be listening for all of your feedback and probably incorporating a fair bit of it.
Sweet.